The next part of the chapter is about probability and the outcomes, possible outcomes. So this is a lot about vocabulary. You're going to have to remember the vocabulary, and then we're going to take another step to fractions after this video, tomorrow probably. So imagine you have a bag like this one that's full of marbles, okay? And we could ask, what would the result be if we put our hand in and we took out our marble? What would the outcome be? So notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blue marbles and 2 yellow marbles. So, because there are only 2 yellow marbles, you're less likely to pick a yellow marble. Vocabulary is less likely. There's not as many yellow marbles, so you are less likely to pick a yellow marble. The outcome of a yellow marble is less likely. Now, if you put your hand in and you chose a blue marble, there are more blue marbles. So since there are more blue marbles, you are more likely to pick a blue marble than a yellow marble. The result or the outcome of picking a blue marble is more likely. So let's pretend that we have that same bag, right? Here's a bag. But we took out the yellow marbles. So now all we have are blue marbles. So then we ask the same questions. Since there are only blue marbles, the outcome is certain that a blue marble will be drawn. Certain is another way to say the outcome is sure. Certain and sure are the same. But remember that yellow marble that we had? Maybe someone asks, what is the outcome of getting a yellow marble? Since there are no yellow marbles, it is impossible to pick a yellow marble. So we have these vocabulary words. From the last page, more likely and less likely, and from this page, certain and impossible. So let's look at something a little bit different. This is a spinner. Sometimes you might use them in a game to move different spaces. So the little arrow here, you flick it and it moves all the way around, right? So let's look at this first one, right? In this spinner, what are the options? Blue, 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 or blue? So the possible outcomes, only blue. So what do you think the likelihood of landing on blue is? Thinking of the vocabulary we've already talked about. What is the likelihood? It is certain. There is no other option. 100% we absolutely know it will land on blue. And then if we look over here at this one, here we have blue, blue, and then yellow and yellow. So the options are blue and yellow. So the question is still the same. What is the likelihood of landing on blue? What is the likelihood of landing on blue? So we have, we spin it, it goes around and around and around and around, it goes around and around and it stops. What is the likelihood it's going to stop on blue? It is equally likely that it will land on blue as on yellow. And the next one here, it's purple, 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 blue. So what is the likelihood that it will land on blue? Remember, the question's always the same. It is less likely that it will land on blue. Okay? And then we have over here, purple and yellow. Again, the same question. The likelihood of it landing on blue is impossible. Blue is not an option. There are no blues here. So can it land on blue? No. It is impossible for it to land on blue. So these are some of the vocabulary words that we need to remember. Certain, equally, likely, less likely, impossible, and of course, more likely is not listed here. One last time, just to review, let's talk about it. We have a bag with cubes inside. This bag has all green cubes, so the possible outcomes are green. And here's the question we're going to be asking. What's the likelihood of picking a green cube? So in this bag, what's the likelihood of picking a green cube? Of course, the likelihood is certain. What is the likelihood of picking a green cube from this bag where we have some green and some yellow? The likelihood of picking a green cube is more likely than picking a yellow cube. The next one, here is the bag with the cubes. We have yellow and green. What is the likelihood of picking a green cube? It is less likely to pick a green cube than a yellow cube. And then we go on to the next bag. We have green and yellow. What is the likelihood of picking a green cube? It is equally likely to pick a green cube as a yellow cube because there are the same amount of greens and yellows. And for the last bag, it's all yellows, but the question is still the same. What is the likelihood of picking a green cube? It's impossible to pick a green cube because there are no green cubes there. I hope you remember these vocabulary words and we'll work on them more in class.